Have you ever faced a moment when a single decision could define your career, or even your life? Maya Carter, a seasoned investigative reporter, stood at the edge of the White House press room. The air felt heavy, charged with anticipation. Cameras flashed like distant lightning. Low murmurs rippled through the crowd. For months, Maya had chased a story that could shake the nation. Tonight, she would finally confront one of the most powerful men on earth, President Donald Trump. Her palms were slick. Her heart pounded. Something about this briefing felt wrong. The questions she had rehearsed for weeks suddenly felt small, inadequate. The weight of her responsibility pressed down on her chest like a physical force. The room fell into an uneasy silence. President Trump's gaze moved slowly across the reporters, then stopped on Maya. There was something in his eyes that unsettled her. Not anger, not amusement. A quiet, piercing curiosity paired with unmistakable authority. Maya tightened her grip on her notebook. Is it worth asking the questions that could get me blacklisted? She had seen reporters escorted out before. Careers stalled, access revoked, reputations quietly buried. She could leave now, protect herself, avoid becoming a cautionary tale. She shifted her weight toward the exit. Wait, a small voice inside her whispered, "Don't go. Not yet." Just as she took a tentative step, a voice cut through the hush. "Maya, wait a second." The words froze her in place. Every head turned. The exit suddenly felt impossibly far away. Whispers erupted around the room. Some reporters frowned. Others stared openly. No one had ever seen the president single someone out like this. "Why me?" Trump stepped away from the podium and walked toward her, his stride calm and deliberate. Maya straightened instinctively, clutching her notebook like a lifeline. "I noticed you were about to leave," he said. No accusation, no sarcasm, just observation. Maya swallowed. "Yes, I—" The words failed her. He leaned slightly closer, lowering his voice. "Sometimes the hardest questions aren't the ones people expect. But walking away won't get you the answers you're looking for." Her stomach twisted. She had spent weeks preparing, rethinking, doubting herself. And now, hearing those words from the very person she expected to challenge most, something shifted inside her. Could a man so often portrayed as combative actually recognize the weight she carried? Maya nodded. She stepped back into the press room. She didn't know it yet, but the next few minutes would change everything she believed about courage, integrity, and the purpose of her work. Maya returned to her seat, pulse racing. The president began speaking again, but not to the room, to her. "I know you're searching for more than headlines," Trump said. "You want the truth, even when it's uncomfortable." Maya's pen hovered above the page. Her editor's voice echoed in her memory. "Be brave, but be smart. Don't get played." This wasn't about winning. It wasn't about losing. It was about integrity. She drew a slow breath. "Mr. President," Maya said, her voice steady despite trembling hands. "In a world where truth feels increasingly subjective, how do you personally decide what deserves action and what doesn't?" The room went silent. Trump held her gaze. "I asked myself one thing," he said. "What impact would this have on real people? Not headlines, not polls, not ratings. People, families, communities. That's what I measure." Maya felt a flicker of something unexpected. Empathy. "Most people think politics is about power," he continued. "It isn't. It's about responsibility. And responsibility is heavier than anyone imagines." She could turn this into a viral clip, or she could go deeper. She chose deeper. "And how do you handle the criticism?" she asked. "The attacks, the scrutiny." Trump paused, then gave a small, thoughtful smile. "You listen, not just to applause, but to those who disagree. That's where growth comes from. Sometimes your harshest critics teach you the most." The lesson landed hard. The press room no longer felt hostile. It felt alive. Trump studied her. "I saw you hesitate earlier," he said. "Walking out is easier than standing up. But courage comes when you stay, even when you're unsure." Maya swallowed. Those words weren't about politics. They were about life. Trump's voice softened. "The world will try to make you compromise. Don't. Integrity is louder than fear. And sometimes the smallest question, asked at the right moment, changes everything. Maya felt her throat tighten. She leaned forward. Has there ever been a time, she asked, when you wish you could do something differently, but couldn't because of expectations or fear backlash? The room seemed to stop breathing. Trump's expression changed. For a moment, he didn't look like a president. He looked like a man reflecting on a lifetime of choices. Yes, he said quietly. Many times. Doing what's right often comes with personal costs. Maya felt a wave of understanding. Leaders were human. Human decisions were imperfect, messy, brave, misunderstood. She wrote, hands trembling. This is why I'm here, she thought. Not for applause, not for ratings, but for truth. Trump leaned back slightly. Most people don't really listen anymore, he said. They listen to defend what they already believe, not to understand. Maya felt the truth of it settle deep in her chest. It's not always about what you ask, he added softly. It's about what you're willing to hear. Doubt flickered through her. What if I get this wrong? Trump seemed to sense it. Doubt is natural, he said. It means you care. Just don't let it silence you. Ask the question you know matters. He offered a small, reassuring smile. And in that moment, Maya understood. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing not to walk away. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite it. Something inside Maya shifted. The doubt didn't vanish, but it changed shape, becoming fuel instead of an obstacle. She understood then that the press room, the cameras, and even the critics beyond these walls were not her true adversaries. Her real battle had always been with her own hesitation. With renewed resolve, she lifted her pen. This story was no longer just about the man at the podium. It was about her, and about the courage to face uncertainty head-on. Maya's pen hovered above her notebook. Every journalist in the room waited for the next question, but the noise around her seemed to fade. This moment belonged to her alone. Mr. President, she said calmly, if the decisions you make affect people in ways you never anticipate, how do you know you're still doing the right thing? Trump studied her for a moment. His gaze softened, and for the first time Maya noticed a quiet vulnerability beneath his confident exterior. You don't always know, he admitted. Sometimes you only understand years later. When you see the consequences, the lives touched, the good or the harm your choices created. The weight of those words settled heavily in Maya's chest. Leadership, she realized, was not power. It was accountability, humility, sacrifice. Trump continued, you keep moving forward because doing nothing is worse than doing something imperfectly, but sincerely. Maya wrote quickly, knowing this could become the defining quote of her career. But more importantly, it became a defining moment for her. She wasn't just witnessing a press briefing. She was witnessing a lesson in leadership, humanity, and the quiet strength of empathy. Trump leaned forward slightly, lowering his voice. You remind me of someone I once knew, he said. Persistent, principled, never afraid to ask difficult questions, even when it's uncomfortable. Maya blinked. It didn't feel like flattery. It felt like recognition. Every decision creates a ripple, he continued, and every story you write becomes part of that ripple. You can lift people, or you can divide them. The choice is always yours. The word struck her deeply. Journalism, like leadership, wasn't about chasing noise. It was about responsibility, impact, choosing empathy over sensation. Maya took a slow breath. Mr. President, she asked, how do you handle people who misunderstand or misrepresent your intentions? Trump paused, scanning the room as if weighing each word carefully. It's difficult, he said, and it hurts to feel misjudged. But you can't control perception. You can only control your actions, your honesty, and your integrity. The truth of it resonated. I try to do what I believe is right, he added, even when others disagree. And sometimes you have to accept that the world won't see things the way you do. Maya nodded. True courage, she realized, wasn't about approval. It was about remaining faithful to your principles, no matter the noise. Trump leaned in slightly, a faint smile forming. Here's a piece of advice you probably didn't expect from me, he said. Never underestimate the power of listening, humility, and compassion. Those are the qualities that endure long after headlines fade. Something warm stirred in Maya's chest. For years she had chased scoops and breaking news. Now she understood that the most meaningful work came from connection, from understanding, from empathy. Courage, Trump added, isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's just standing your ground when no one is watching. Maya felt her hands relax. Courage wasn't performance. It was intention. Even people in power have fears, regrets, and doubts, Trump said. Acknowledging them doesn't weaken you. It strengthens your humanity. A lump rose in Maya's throat. She had spent years viewing leaders as distant figures. This moment shattered that illusion. They were human, too, and humanity was the bridge that connected them all. Thank you for being honest, Maya said softly. Trump nodded. Honesty is rare. Courage is rarer. But both are necessary if you want to leave something better behind. The press room seemed to blur. This was no longer about politics. It was about people. Your questions matter, Trump said. Your integrity matters. Never doubt the impact you can have. Sometimes a single question changes how people think. Sometimes it changes lives. Maya felt a warmth she hadn't expected. Her work wasn't just a career. It was a responsibility, a chance to shape understanding. Before the briefing ended, Trump looked at her and said, "Some of the most important stories aren't written on paper. They're written in hearts." As reporters began filing out, Maya lingered. Trump extended his hand, not as a political gesture, but a human one. "Remember," he said quietly, "it's not about making headlines. It's about making a difference." She shook his hand, deeply aware that she had nearly walked away from this moment. Later that night, alone in her apartment, Maya stared at her open notebook. One small decision, to stay, to listen, to ask, had changed everything. Her article wouldn't go viral because of scandal. It would go viral because it was human, because it reminded people that understanding begins with listening. And Maya realized something she would carry for the rest of her life. Sometimes being called back isn't a rebuke. It's an invitation to become more. And the courage to stay, to ask, and to listen has the power to change not just stories, but lives.